Every time you look in the mirror after a fresh trim, do you ever feel like something is quietly off? Not bad exactly, just older than you expected. Imagine finally knowing the 5 haircuts secretly aging you overnight, and the 5 that could take a decade off your face by this afternoon. I research worst style and beauty mistakes and youth-boosting fixes for mature women, so you get simple, proven transformations that work instantly. Today we are perfecting the 10 haircut choices every woman over 65 needs to know, 5 to avoid and 5 that transform you. And by part 10 you will want to pause and look in the mirror. I mean it. We start with the mistakes, then move into the transformations. And the very first mistake? I see it on 9 out of 10 women over 65. Let's go. Mistake 1. The blunt chin length bob. You have probably worn some version of this cut for years. Feels safe. It feels like the one your stylist always defaults to when you say, just something easy. Here's what nobody tells you. A blunt, heavy chin length bob cut straight across ends right at the widest, softest part of most mature faces. It draws a hard horizontal line exactly where you do not want one. That line does something quietly brutal. It shortens your neck, boxes in your jaw, and makes even a naturally soft jawline look heavier than it is. This one is everything. The mistake is not the length. It is the bluntness. A hard, blunt edge has zero movement, zero softness, and nothing to distract the eye from where gravity has already started doing its work. Here's why this ages you specifically. Mature skin has already lost a bit of elasticity along the jaw. A blunt bob does not hide that. It frames it, spotlights it, and holds it there for everyone to see. Your stylist likely is not doing this to hurt you. Blunt bobs are fast to cut and easy to maintain, so it becomes the default for a quick 15-minute appointment. Honestly, I wish someone had told me years ago that easy and flattering are not always the same thing. If you are still wearing a hard blunt line at the chin, that is the swap to make first. Even softening the ends slightly changes the entire read of your face. There is one detail that changes everything about how this cut ages you. And it has nothing to do with the length at all. It is the angle of the blade. You needed to hear this. Maintenance on a blunt bob only makes the problem worse over time, because as it grows out unevenly, the line gets even harder instead of softer. The real fix is not abandoning the bob entirely. It is asking for soft, feathered ends and slight face framing layers at the front. That one change keeps the convenience of a bob while removing the exact thing that was aging you. Think about the difference between a wall and a curtain. A blunt bob is a wall. Soft layers are a curtain, and curtains always look softer, lighter, and more alive. Your bone structure deserves a frame, not a box. Which mistake do you think is even more common than this one? The next one might already be sitting on your head right now. Mistake 2. Overlayered short shag. Have you ever left the salon loving your hair, only to watch it lose all its shape by the third wash? That is the second mistake, and it is sneaky because it looks fantastic in photos taken the same day you get it cut. An overlayered short shag sounds youthful and edgy. In theory it should be. In practice, too many short layers stacked on top of each other on fine, mature hair creates something very different. It creates thinness. Real visible thinness right at the crown, right where volume matters the absolute most. Yes, that's simple. Here is the key insight most women never hear. Younger hair is thicker per strand and holds shape even when heavily layered. Mature hair is naturally finer, so the same layering technique that looks full on a 30-year-old reads as sparse and wispy on you. Your stylist may have trained mostly on younger clients, so this distinction never even crosses their mind during your appointment. The 5 fixes here matter more than almost anywhere else in this list. First, ask for layers concentrated more at the ends than at the root, so the crown keeps its density. Second, request a shag with movement instead of choppy, disconnected pieces, because disconnection reads as thin on camera and in person. Third, insist your stylist point cut rather than slide cut, since slide cutting removes far more bulk than mature hair can spare. Fourth, if you love the shag silhouette, ask for it slightly longer than trend photos show, because length itself adds the illusion of weight. And fifth, honestly, just bring a photo and say the words "keep density at the crown" out loud. Stylists respond to specific language. Swap heavy layering throughout for weighted layering that stays fuller near the roots, and swap thin wispy ends for slightly blunter, rounder ends that catch the light. Maintenance tip: a lightweight root lifting spray applied only at the crown before blow drying keeps this style from collapsing by noon. There was a version of you that could pull off any amount of layering without a second thought. She still can. She just needs a shag cut with her actual hair density in mind, not a magazine photo of someone else's hair. The next mistake is one almost nobody suspects because it does not even involve your hairstylist at all. Mistake 3. The overgrown pixie. This one is personal for so many women because it usually starts as a good decision. You got a beautiful sharp pixie cut. It felt bold. Felt like you. And then life happened, appointments got pushed back, and somewhere around week 7 everything changed. An overgrown pixie is one of the fastest ways to accidentally age yourself, and almost nobody realizes it is happening in real time. Here is why. A fresh pixie has intentional shape at the crown and clean definition around the ears and neckline. The moment it grows out unevenly, that shape collapses into something with no defined line at all. This one is everything. The key insight is that a pixie is not really one haircut. It is a maintenance schedule disguised as a haircut. The style itself only works within its first 4 to 5 weeks. Fix 1, get back into the chair every 4 weeks without exception, because a pixie is simply not a let it ride style. Fix 2, if scheduling is hard, ask for a slightly longer pixie with more root length, since it grows out more gracefully and buys you extra weeks. Fix 3, request texture at the crown rather than a flat cut, because texture disguises the awkward in-between growth stage far better than a blunt top. Fix 4, keep the nape and sides trimmed even if you skip a full cut, since a clean neckline alone preserves most of the youthful effect. Fix 5, and this one surprises people, ask your colorist to add soft dimension, because flat single process color makes overgrown pixies look even more undone. Swap a fully grown out pixie for a textured crop, and swap letting the neckline go fuzzy for a quick neckline only trim between full appointments. Honestly, the neckline trim alone has saved more than one client of mine from a full recut. Maintenance tip: a small amount of texturizing paste worked only into the crown revive shape on day 4 or 5 without a salon visit. You needed to hear this. The next mistake will feel the most surprising of all 5, because it is the one that looks the most put together from a distance. Mistake 4. The flat single-length long cut. Have you ever wondered why your long hair looked incredible at 50, but somehow reads differently now? It is not your hair's fault. It is the shape it has been left in. A long single-length cut with no layers, the kind that just gets a 2-inch trim every few months and nothing else, is one of the most common mistakes among women over 65. Long hair itself is not the problem. I need you to hear that clearly because so many women are told to just cut it all off instead. Yes, that's simple. The real issue is weight distribution. Uncut, unlayered length pulls everything downward, including your face. It flattens the crown and drags visual attention straight down toward the chin and neck. There is one technique that changes how your entire face reads on camera and in person, and it takes your stylist about 4 extra minutes to add during your normal trim. Fix 1. Ask for long layers starting at the cheekbone rather than a solid single length, since this instantly lifts the whole silhouette. Fix 2. Request face framing pieces around the front, because they soften the transition between hair and jawline. Fix 3. Add subtle curtain layers even if you keep the overall length long, since movement at the front does more work than people expect. Fix 4. Avoid a completely straight, ironed finish, because soft bends and waves create the illusion of built-in volume. Fix 5, and this one is often skipped. Ask for slightly shorter layers underneath near the crown specifically to fight flatness at the root. Swap a solid single length for long face framing layers, and swap pin straight styling for soft waves that add lift and movement. Maintenance tip: a volumizing mousse applied only at the roots before drying keeps that crown lift intact through the entire day. Your natural elegance was never the problem. The shape holding it down was. The final mistake on this list is the one most women do to themselves without a stylist anywhere in sight. Mistake 5. Skipping professional color maintenance. This mistake has nothing to do with your haircut shape at all, and that is exactly why it sneaks past so many women. You could have the most flattering cut on this entire list, and this one habit alone can still age you by a decade. Skipping regular professional color maintenance, whether that is letting gray grow out unevenly or stretching root touch-ups far past their prime, changes how every single haircut on this list actually reads. Here is the key insight nobody explains well. Uneven color creates a visible line of demarcation that the eye reads as messy, regardless of how sharp the cut underneath is. This one is everything. Your haircut can be flawless, and a harsh 2-inch root line will still be the very first thing anyone notices. Fix one if you are growing out gray intentionally. Ask for a blending technique like a soft balayage instead of doing nothing, since a blended grow-out looks intentional and a neglected one does not. Fix 2. Stretch your appointment strategically, not accidentally, by choosing a lower maintenance color formula designed for longer gaps between visits. Fix 3. Avoid flat, single-process color entirely on mature hair, because it removes the natural dimension that catches light and adds visual fullness. Fix 4. Ask specifically for warmth near your face, since cool, ashy tones can wash out mature skin far more than most women realize. Fix 5, and honestly this is the one I tell every friend who asks, book your root touch-up before you think you need it, not after you already see the line. Swap harsh, flat root lines for soft blended grow-outs, and swap ashy all-over color for warmer, dimensional tones near the face. Maintenance tip: a purple or blue toning shampoo used correctly between salon visits keeps brassiness from undoing all of this progress. Honestly, I have watched women spend hundreds on a haircut, and then undo it completely with neglected color. You have now heard every single mistake quietly aging you, and in a moment everything changes, because the next 5 haircuts are about to become your new favorites. Transformation 1. The soft layered lob. Take a breath because we are done with mistakes. Everything from here forward is about to work in your favor. If you want one single cut that does the most work with the least effort, this is it. The soft layered lob, a long bob that lands somewhere between the chin and the collarbone, is the most requested youthful cut for women over 65 right now, and there is a real reason why. It hits the exact length that lifts the face without shortening the neck the way a chin-length bob does. This one is everything. Here is the key insight. The lob works because it borrows the best part of long hair, movement and softness, while keeping the weight high enough to avoid dragging the face down. Fix 1. Ask for layers that begin just below the cheekbone, since that is the precise point that opens up your eyes and lifts your whole expression. Fix 2. Request slightly rounded, not blunt, ends because rounded ends photograph and move more naturally on mature hair texture. Fix 3. Add face framing pieces at the front that hit near the jaw, since they create a subtle slimming effect along the lower face. Fix 4. Keep some length at the back longer than the front, an intentional lob shape rather than one flat line all around. Fix 5, and this one is often overlooked. Ask your stylist to point cut the ends rather than blunt cut them, for texture that catches light beautifully. Swap a heavy blunt bob for this softer, longer lob shape, and swap flat iron styling for a loose bend using a large barrel curling iron. Honestly, this is the one that made a friend of mine stop mid-conversation and ask what changed about my face. Maintenance tip: a light shine serum on the ends only keeps this cut looking polished without weighing down the crown. Your bone structure was built for a cut exactly like this one. The next transformation is even bolder, and it might be the one you have been secretly afraid to ask for. 2. The textured pixie with soft fringe. Have you ever admired a short haircut on another woman and assumed you could never pull it off? I want you to set that thought aside completely for the next few minutes. A textured pixie with a soft side-swept fringe is one of the single most rejuvenating cuts available to mature women. And it works because of exactly one detail most people skip. Softness. Not a severe geometric pixie, but one with texture and movement built into every layer. Yes, that's simple. The key insight here is that texture disrupts harsh lines, and harsh lines are what tend to age a short cut. Movement reads as youthful no matter how short the hair actually is. Fix 1. Ask for a longer top with shorter sides, since the height at the crown instantly elongates the entire face. Fix 2. Request a soft, side-swept fringe rather than a blunt straight-across bang, because the angle softens the forehead beautifully. Fix 3. Add texture with the matte finishing paste rather than gel, since shine on very short hair can look severe on mature skin. Fix 4. Ask your colorist for subtle lowlights even on gray or silver hair, because dimension keeps short hair from looking flat under bright light. Fix 5. Request slightly longer length around the ears if you wear glasses, since this prevents your hair from being pushed into odd angles all day. Swap a severe geometric pixie for this softer textured version, and swap a straight blunt fringe for one that sweeps gently to the side. There is a version of you that used to flip her hair and laugh without a second thought. Maintenance tip: work a small amount of paste between your palms and scrunch upward at the crown each morning to keep the height alive. She is still in there, and this cut brings her right back to the surface. The next cut on this list surprises almost everyone, because it involves length nobody expects mature hair to handle well. 3. Long layers with curtain framing. You were told somewhere along the way that long hair past a certain age was off limits. That advice was wrong, and I want to prove it to you right now. Long hair, when it is layered correctly, can be one of the most elegant and youthful choices a mature woman makes. The specific version that works best is long layers combined with curtain framing at the front, meaning soft pieces that part naturally around the face. Here is why this one performs so well. Curtain framing draws the eye toward your cheekbones and eyes instead of toward the lower face, which is exactly where you want attention to go. There is one detail that changes everything about how long hair reads on mature skin, and it is simply where the layers start. Fix 1. Ask for layers that begin above the chin rather than below it, since starting too low leaves the style looking like unstyled long hair, rather than an intentional cut. Fix 2. Request curtain pieces specifically parted from the center or a soft side part, because this framing is what creates the lifting effect around the eyes. Fix 3. Keep the ends slightly rounded rather than blunt, since rounded ends move more naturally with long layering. Fix 4. Avoid pulling this style back tightly every day, because the framing effect only works when some pieces stay loose around the face. Fix 5. Ask for face framing layers to be cut slightly shorter in front than you think you want, since they relax and settle lower once styled. Swap unlayered long hair for long layers with curtain framing at the front, and swap a tight center part pulled straight back for a soft side part that lets pieces fall naturally. Honestly, this is the change that gets the most unsolicited compliments of anything on this entire list. Maintenance tip: blow dry the front framing pieces with a round brush pointed away from the face to lock in that soft curtain shape. Those beautiful eyes were always meant to be the first thing people notice. The next transformation might be the boldest one yet, and it belongs to women who are ready to be seen. Transformation 4. The silver shag with root lift. If you are transitioning to gray, or already fully silver, I saved this one for a reason because it might be the single most requested cut in this entire video. A silver shag, short to medium length with heavy texture and deliberate root lift, does something almost no other cut can do for gray or silver hair specifically. It adds density exactly where gray hair tends to look thinnest, right at the crown. This one is everything. The key insight is that gray and silver hair often has a different texture than your natural color did, usually coarser, and a shag is specifically designed to work with texture rather than fight it. Fix 1. Ask your stylist for heavy point cutting throughout, since this technique thrives on textured or coarser gray hair in a way smooth cutting never will. Fix 2. Request intentional root lift styling, using a round brush directed upward at the crown while blow drying. Fix 3. Avoid flat ironing this cut completely, because the shag depends entirely on natural texture and movement to look intentional rather than messy. Fix 4. Ask for slightly longer pieces around the face even within a shorter overall shag, since this keeps the style from looking uniformly short and severe. Fix 5, and this one matters more than people expect: use a texturizing spray at the root before you even begin styling, not after. Swap smooth, flat gray styling for this deliberately textured shag shape, and swap all over even length for face framing pieces left slightly longer. Curtains open where curtains close, and this cut works exactly the same way, letting light in around your face instead of shutting it out. Maintenance tip: sleep on a silk pillowcase to preserve the texture overnight instead of flattening it by morning. Your silver hair was never something to hide. This cut simply gives it somewhere beautiful to go. One transformation remains, and it might just be the most flattering length of your entire life. 5. The rounded graduated bob with lift. We saved the most requested transformation for last, and once you see why, you will understand exactly why it belongs here. The rounded graduated bob, shorter at the back and gently longer toward the front, is often called the facelift cut by stylists who understand exactly what it does. It uses graduated layering to lift the corners of the jaw and open up the eye area, all without a single needle involved. Here is the key insight that makes this cut so effective. Graduation adds volume specifically at the back and crown, which counteracts the natural flattening that happens with age at the back of the head. You needed to hear this. Fix 1. Ask specifically for graduated layers in the back, shorter underneath and gradually longer toward the front pieces. Fix 2. Request rounded rather than sharp corners at the jawline, since rounded shapes are universally more flattering on mature bone structure. Fix 3. Keep some length in the front pieces longer than the back, since this is the exact detail that creates the lifting illusion. Fix 4. Ask for a slight undercut at the nape if your hair is fine, because it adds invisible support that holds the shape longer. Fix 5, and this one is simple but often missed. Request a diffuser-style blow-dry rather than flat brushing, since it enhances the natural roundness of the cut. Swap a flat, single-length bob for this graduated, rounded shape, and swap brushing straight down for diffusing upward at the crown and back. Honestly, I have watched women in their 70s get carded at the wine counter after this exact cut. Maintenance tip: a texturizing spray at the nape keeps the graduation crisp between salon visits. Your natural elegance has been waiting for a haircut that finally works with your face instead of against it. You now know all 10, 5 to release and 5 to embrace, and everything is about to come together. You just learned 10 haircut choices that most women spend years figuring out through trial and error, 5 quiet mistakes that were aging you, and 5 transformations built specifically for your face and your stage of life. Boom, your bone structure was always this stunning, now it finally shows. Tell me, which of these 5 mistakes were you making without even realizing it, and which transformation are you booking first? Next time we are tackling the one accessory mistake that adds 10 years overnight, so you will not want to miss it. Like this video, subscribe to Timeless Wisdom Path, and I will see you in the next one.